Hi, y'all. My name is Jess Richardson, and I am so excited because I am launching the program of my dreams. I have been talking about this stuff for over a decade, and it just thrills me to my core. So I am so stinking excited. And it's all about being confidently sexy. Because you know what? In all of my years of teaching about sex and the sex industry and being trafficked and abuse and shame and hurt and overcoming, there is something that I learned that was absolutely mind-blowing. Because I started asking people, and in the time that I was doing interviews and talking to people, I talked to like well over 1,000 people. And I heard their stories, and there was a common thread all the way through. And hands down, it was number one that confidence is the sexiest thing on earth. Like, it's mind-blowing. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how big or small you are. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It doesn't matter how much money you have. If you have confidence, it automatically just makes you so incredibly attractive. And if you think about it, it works. When you've had days when you felt really good, all of a sudden everybody's like, hey, what's up? And then the jerky people just kind of stay away because you're strong and you're confident and you're feeling it. And that's really the thing, is that you can fake confidence or you can have real confidence. Like, we see it every day on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, where it's like people are putting something up and you're like, oh, that's so BS. Like, I know it because I know them and that's not what their life's like. I don't know what the hell they're thinking, but that ain't it. So, like, we can totally fake confidence. But I want to tell you a quick story about when I felt real, true confidence for the first time ever. And it has so much to do with my shame and how I released myself from it. So I had been married to Reed. I've been married now almost 15 years, but I had been married to Reed about a year and a half. And we already had 2 kids. And I locked myself in the bathroom because that's what any mother does when you just need to get away for a while. I locked myself in the bathroom. I ran a bath and I like snot bubble cried. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And it was because I had lied to Reed. I had never told him something and I lied to him. I had said that never in my life was I going to tell him that I had been a prostitute working under someone. I was being trafficked, but I didn't have the word yet. Like, that word wasn't in my vocabulary yet. So I had squeezed this part forward and this part back, and I just eliminated like this 14 to 15 month period of my life and just pretended like it didn't exist because it was so dark, so hurtful, so trauma filled that I had to just like pretend it wasn't there. And so I swore when I got away from him, my trafficker, that I was never going to tell anybody about it again. Never going to talk about it, like I was done. But all those years later, when I'm locked myself in the bathroom, I knew I had to tell Reed. Like, it was such a burden on my heart. Like, I loved him, I cared for him, but I was going crazy trying to keep that shame locked inside. And I think I ran through the bathtub like twice. You know, like drained the cold water, filled it up hot again, drained it again. And I was like finally ready to come out of the bathroom. And I was all blotchy and red. I'd been crying. And I'm standing there in the hallway in a towel. And I'm like, hey, Reed, go upstairs. I need to talk to you. And through my tears, and he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, Reed, I was a prostitute and I didn't know how to tell you. I lied to you and I'm sorry. And his reaction just like completely rocked me to my core. He wrapped his arms around me and he held me. And he said, I already knew. I love you. And that was the most powerful moment of my life. Because in 1 second, all of the guilt, all of the shame just completely melted away. And I felt comfortable with who I was for the first time ever. Because I started being raped when I was 4 years old. All I knew was sexual shame. All I knew was dysfunction. And yet he somehow in his subconscious knew and accepted me. And that has actually been one of the core principles that I have founded my life, my marriage, my parenting, everything is based on. It's that we all have the deep desire to be known. And once truly known, loved and wanted for who we are. it's so hard to get there because there's so much judgment. There's so many other things in the way that hold us back. And there's always that real and that fake. Because you know what? There was a time a number of years later that I had gained a bunch of weight. And I'm pregnant with now our 4th child. And I was overweight and I had to go to court. Like, it was this ugly situation. I felt horrible about myself. I hated who I was. I hated the situation, but I had to get gas on the way to court. I pull into this gas station and it is packed with men. And I am like 250, 275 pounds pregnant, but not looking pregnant. Like, I was 5 months pregnant. I looked like I was just fat. And it was bad. And I remember sitting in my car going, it's okay, Jess, you can do this. And I got out of my car and I stood up real strong and I pulled my shoulders back, chin up. And I walked into that gas station expecting everyone to just be like, oh, she's so fat, what the hell's she doing out of the house, kind of a thing. And you know, every single head in that place turned. And by the time I got out of that gas station, I had 2 guys asking me out for dates. And everybody was just like, oh, you look great. You look this. Like, it blew my mind. And I was like, it can be real or it can be fake. But what I learned in that situation is there is so much more anxiety and stress in trying to fake it than it is to just like come out and be real and be honest and truly find it. But when it comes to mental health, so many times we complicate things or we throw medications at things. And now, please don't get me wrong. Medications are really, really helpful for a lot of things. If you have chemical imbalances, yeah, it's good. But if you have a trauma problem like I had, it made me seem crazy and feel crazy. But really what I had was this unresolved shame that was blocking my confidence and making it to where I just couldn't be me. But as I learned to taste the confidence and feel it, suddenly it became free. And all of a sudden, all the things in my life started to fall into place. It's amazing how when you believe in yourself and you care for who you are and you care about your heart and the relationships around you, suddenly everything in life starts to transform into something different. And it is the best feeling in the world. It is absolutely amazing. And that's where being confidently sexy truly comes in. Because if you feel confidence inside and out, if you can go to bed at night and feel good about who you are, if you can stare yourself in the mirror and be like, yeah, that chick right there, her, I like her. When you can do that, suddenly everything is easy. Everything becomes simple. So here's where it gets complicated. We're like going through life and we're in our comfort zone. Imagine right now, excuse me, we are in like this beautiful forest. And it's all evergreen and gorgeous and there's mountains. And this world is your comfort zone. This is the world that you live in. And you're walking through your comfort zone and everything's good and suddenly you see something you've never seen before. And you look over there and you go to it and it's like in the side of the mountain. And you start to pull the ivy away and it is this old, ancient, like dark train tunnel that you have never seen before. And it is scary looking. That is our hurt. That is our pain. That is our thing that we have stuffed inside. And so what we do is we cover the ivy back up. Cover it back up. Cover it up. We can't let anyone see that. But it's like a popcorn kernel stuck in your teeth. Your tongue just, you're always trying to get it. And it's awful. Like you can't stop thinking about it. And then you do things and it makes you look crazy, trying to make sure no one can see your giant issue right here. And the more you try to cover it up, the harder it is. What I discovered is that there are, okay, hold on to your britches for a second. There are 7 billion people on this planet. 7 billion. There are 16 personality types on like the most complex personality quizzes. There's 16. So out of 7 billion people, there's only 16 options. And you know what? Each one of those different personalities has a different healing pattern based on their experience, their life. Trauma doesn't have to be like mine, there's never a pissing contest for who has the worst story. Like, that's a stupid idea. But we have these train tunnels that we have to deal with. Like, we need to be able to address those problems, but because there's so much shame, we don't. So what I learned in working with survivors of trafficking, with working with complex trauma, is that if we can just learn our pattern and run through those tunnels, you come out the other side in a comfort zone that's very similar. It's not that much different, except it's more vibrant, and it's brighter, and it's more fun, and you're more free. And then you're walking through your comfort zone and you hit another tunnel. And you're like, again? But as you develop yourself, you realize that you can hit those tunnels hard and fast. And they never have to stop you again. There's so many people that use different analogies like onions or whatever. Like, there's always more. There's always going to be something else. And I hit this time in my life where I thought I was done. And in a lot of ways, I was. Like, I didn't have any triggers or any problems. All my nightmares were gone. Everything had disappeared. But then I entered this new phase of life in my adulthood where a whole bunch of really, really bad things happened. A lot of people died in a very short time, including my mother. I had business partners. Like, we had a lot of major things happen where we ended up losing everything. Everything we owned. Now, keep in mind, I have 5 kids. We lost everything we owned 3 times in 5 years by no fault of our own. It wasn't bad choices or decisions. It was really bad circumstances that life just happened. So while this was happening, I just shut down. I went into my hole and I was like, I have to learn to do this again. For the second time in my life, I have to deeply work on my heart and regain my confidence. And I did it again. And just in the last year, I've been coming out of it. But what's amazing to me is that it works time and time again. You do hit this point where you just move past it. Because once you hit a tunnel and you're done, you're done. And it's so simple. And it's so fast. And it gets to where it's fun. I remember a time where I was looking for my problems. I'm like, I just wish I could work through more issues because they hold me back so much. I don't want them in my life. So here's one of the things that happened with me. I have always had a bunch of trauma. I started being raped when I was 4 and 5. My dad was murdered when I was 10. I had some pretty intense run-in with gangs when I was 16. I ended up being trafficked when I was 17. And I had all of this stuff that was just bad. And it held me back, and I thought I would never be able to get over it. I thought I would never be able to move forward. But I knew there was this fire inside of me, because the reason I thought that was because that's what everybody always told me. Everybody always said, oh, Jess, you're so smart. You're so beautiful. You don't need any help. You don't need anything. I always got that cute little head pat. You don't need anything. And they built this fire, this rage inside of me. I'm like, I do need help. But then I never got the help or the support that I really wanted in my youth. And so it turned into this fuel that I was like, I am never going to let anyone tell me that I'm not good enough. I'm never going to let anyone say that you have to be messed up because of your story. And even though I believed them for a long time, as I became an adult, and honestly worked in the sex industry, and I took ownership of my sexuality, and I spent years in the sex industry just owning who I was and taking my confidence back and taking my sexuality back. And it gave me this fire where I was like, I never want to be messed up just because I've been messed up. And I mean, it's even happened in the last week where people are like, wow, your story is so bad. I think you're probably just good enough. And that's one of the biggest problems with psychology today is that I'm so grateful that I never had the opportunity or ability to really be able to go to counseling, because I think it would have stunted my growth in a lot of ways, because psychology is a very relatively new field. Like, I don't even think it was invented until like 1879. And we were still doing lobotomies in the 60s. Like, that's how far behind the world of psychology is, except we've been humaning on this planet for a really long time. And so why is it that we were still like putting ice picks in people's head not even 50, 60 years ago, but we've been humaning for however long you think people have been here? A long time. Way more than that. And so for me, it was finding this fire inside of me that said, every time someone said, oh, you're just going to kind of be messed up forever, I was like, hell no, I'm not. I'm better than that. I can be better than that. Watch me. And I had two goals in life. It was that I wanted to sleep at night without nightmares. And I wanted to be able to stare myself in the mirror. And I can tell you right now, I have been doing that for like well over a decade. And it works. That's the thing, is that when I went public with my story of being trafficked in 2009, I just started sharing what I call trauma porn. It's like the ugliest parts the media just devours, and it eats it up. They want it. But I never got to where I could share the good parts. And then how do you recover from this? And then I started teaching and consulting and working with clinicians and psychiatrists and all types of different people who were helping other people. And I was seeing their practices change within social work. Like, they were making huge differences with their clients. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to be able to do that. And then our world came crashing down, like our son almost died, and we had some weird things happen. And as we have been just reevaluating life, I was like, I need to do this. This is my most favorite, my most exciting thing in my life, is to help people gain the confidence and to rid themselves of shame. Find confidence and become confidently sexy, because you know what? It's beautiful. And this isn't ever a competition about who's better or who's worth, because you know who I'm in competition with? Me, and no one else. Every day I want to be a better me, and that is it. And I am so thrilled to announce this. So here, I'm going to warn you right here. I'm about to do a sales pitchy thing, because I'm launching like the best opportunity I have ever put out, working with people directly, and I love it. But if you don't want to hear it, feel free to click away. You don't have to. But if you want to stick around, you're about to get the deal of a lifetime, because it's going to be totally cool. I don't necessarily do coaching. I don't do mentorship. I do friendship. Because friendship and a two-way street, the moment there is this weird elevation of hierarchy with titles, we lose the ability to have a two-way relationship, have a two-way friendship that actually heals. But with someone who's not going to give you crap and just like gloss over things, because the moment you start glossing over, you stop. The kicker with this is that it's easy and it's simple. As long as you're willing, it just happens. All you have to be, the only qualification, is that you're willing. That's it. So here's the thing. The first thing, and this is the gold, it is the gold, the Confidently Sexy private membership group. And it is so much fun. After launch, it is going to be $47 a month. I will be going live twice a week in there, answering questions, talking. I will be in there every day, like communicating this way, but I will be live and we will be interacting in this private group. It is for both men and women, and it doesn't matter where on the spectrum you identify. If you have the desire to break free of shame and step into something amazing, step into who you are with no shame, with freedom, and find your confidently sexy self, this group is for you. And I'm just stoked, because the group is really where the magic happens. Now, the next thing, item number 2, is the quick start guide. And I call it a quick start guide because Think about it. You buy a big old TV or a new computer or something. You get this giant manual, and then you get this guide, a quick start guide. Who reads the manual? No one in their right mind. We all just want the bullet pointed quick start guide, right? So I eliminated the manual. Well, I'll do that some other day. I'll write a big book. What you need is a quick start guide. And that quick start guide will catapult you forward by asking you questions that get to the heart of who you are. What is really getting to you? How are you going to get there? How are we going to move forward? Because that will help guide you within the group and really just go deep. And that's what you need in order to really see the transformation, because deep inside, there's all these questions that someone needs to just ask you. And these are my questions that I've been asking people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients. And they're like, oh my goodness, it's mind blowing, because it is. Simple works. We've been humaning for a really long time. This is like back to the basics type stuff. And we get so infiltrated with media and all this and all that and all this. Simple, but it works. The third thing is the one-on-one, I love this, one-on-one courageous breakthrough friendship. Because that is where you and I can go through the quick guide and we can, the quick start guide, and we can just bounce it off, go deep, go fast. So here's how it works. Everyone told me that having 3 options on my website was too complicated, and that people would not want it because they can't choose between one of 3 options. Quite frankly, I think that's bullshit. If you can't make a choice between one of 3, this program isn't for you. Okay, I'm going to tell you straight up. I love business. I love marketing. If you can't choose between one of 3 options, I'll run through them real quick right now. You need a different program. You need a program that can only give you 1 or 2 options. Here's 3 options. Option number 1. I made this super affordable because there have been people who have been following me, my friends, for 10 years who have been wanting this, and I wanted them to be able to get in at a price that was super affordable. Option number 1 is the private membership group, the Confidently Sexy. It is normally $47 a month. I am doing it during my pre-launch time only for $19.99 a month. So only during my pre-launch. It will never be this cheap again, because honestly, people won't use it if they don't pay for it. And I want people to be able to get in now at pre-launch, and then the prices are going to go up but I need my friends to be able to jump in. So $20 a month, you're locked in at that rate, and it's not ever going to go up for you. That is option number 1. Option number 2 is an annual membership to the Confidently Sexy group and the Quick Start Guide. But you're going to get the annual membership. The entire package of option number 2 is $199. You get 1 year for the price of 10 months and the Quick Start Guide for free. And so, if you can afford it, don't do the $19.99. Do the $199, because it's going to save you money. You're going to want the Quick Start Guide, and it'll just power you right through. Now, option number 3 is for a person who either wants, uber quick, I want results yesterday, or maybe you're up against a deadline, there's something happening, you're going to get married, or, you're going to go do a stage performance or something like this, and you need to find that. That is what option number 3 is for. It is $397, and it includes a lifetime membership to the Confidently Sexy group, the Quick Start Guide, and you get 2 sessions of the one-on-one Courageous Breakthrough. Sessions directly with me. We will go with Skype, FaceTime, something like that, and we will connect face-to-face, and we will work through everything. And it's crazy because it happens so fast. And that's why I think a lot of people don't follow this model, is you're not going to need me forever. You're actually only going to need me for a very short time. And so that's good for you, but that means I have to keep finding people. But I'm okay with that, because if I can change your life, and it works, and we've seen it work over and over and over again. That's why my testimonials look like they do. And it's real, and it's not hard, and you don't have to be scared. And having the group is really what brings us all together. It gives us that safe place where we can have these conversations. You're not going to be judged. I do not take bullshit from anyone. And it's not going to start in my group. So you know what? I wrote something for us. And it was really, what does it mean to be confidently sexy? Because I feel this fire, and I'm like, we have to do this, like, together. We need an entire world of people who are confidently sexy, because we are the rational thinkers. We are the speakers of truth. We are the voice of reason. We are the kindness that transforms lives. We are confident in our common sense. We love with reckless abandon, but we take shit from no one. We are proud of our stories, our victories, and our failures. We embrace our humanity and love ourselves. We are confidently sexy and kind AF. So I hope y'all joined me, because you know what? I am so totally stoked. I have waited a long time to be able to release things to the public, and now is my time, and I can't wait for y'all to join me. I love you. I hope to see you on the other side. Bye.